Hi guys, Mrs. Delisin here. Welcome to another lesson of Algebra 2. Today's lesson is property of equality for exponential functions. So today we are going to learn how to solve basic exponential equations. So what is a property of equality? Let b be a positive number where b is not equal to 1. Okay, then b to the power of x equals b to the power of y if and only if x is equal to y. So I would like to highlight that we have here the base of the two equations, right? The one on the left and the one on the right are the same exact thing. And so when they are the same, we can just do the exponents, which is x to the power of y. So how does that, how do you do that? So let's have an example of, in here we have 2 to the power of 3x plus 5 equals 2 to the power of 7. So our b in here is equal to 2. We also have our b is equal to 2. Since our base, right, the b is both equal to 2, we are going to do x is equal to y, meaning 3x plus 5 equals 7. And we need to make sure that we solve for the value of x to make this 3x plus 5 equal to 7. So what would be the value of x so that when I plug that in there, so 3 times what the value of x is plus 5, it'll be equal to 7. And of course, we can just solve that by isolating our x. So we're going to subtract 5 on both sides. So that's 3x is equal to 7 minus 5, you get a 2. And then divide 3 on both sides, you'll get 2/3. So the value of x that will make left and right side equation equal will be 2/3. And just like that, you've solved number 1. Okay, moving on, number 2. Again, we have to make sure that our bases are equal to each other. So we have a base of 7, also a base of 7. And since they are equal, I am going to bring down their exponents and make sure that I also make them equal to each other. So I'm going to subtract 3x, subtract 10. And so we have here, cancel, x squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. Okay, right? So then, because this is a quadratic, I'm going to factor it. I'm going to look for two numbers that when I multiply, I will get negative 10. And when I add it, I will get negative 3. And I think it's not that hard to identify that the numbers we're looking for is an x minus 5 and an x plus 2. Because, let's check, if I multiply negative 5 and a negative 2, I will definitely get negative 10. If I add negative 5 and a positive 2, I will definitely get negative 3. So my factors are x minus 5 equal to 0. Hopefully you will say that we will get a 5. X plus 2 equal to 0. Hopefully you will also say that is x is equal to negative 2. So our numbers that we're looking for is negative 2 and a positive 5. Okay, moving on. Number 3, we have a base of 3 and a base of 3 also. So since the bases are the same, I am going to bring down the exponents and I'm going to solve the exponent. So I have x squared minus 4x equals 2. And then, of course, because this is a quadratic, I'm going to subtract 2. And I will end up with, what do we end up with? X squared minus 4x minus 2 equals 0. Then we are going to factor that equals 0. We are looking for two numbers that when we multiply it, we will get negative 2. And when we add it, we will get negative 4. The only way to get negative 2 is if we do 2 times negative 2. 2 times negative 1 or negative 2 times 1, right? And there's no way that's a positive. That's no way that is a negative 4. So it looks like these is what we call unfactorable. So we'll put that one here. Note unfactorable. And because we cannot factor this, we are left with two choices. We can either do completing the square. Hopefully you remember that. If you don't, please watch the previous video called completing the square. Or you can also do quadratic formula. And again, if you forgot that, please watch the previous video called the how to solve quadratic formula, or how to use quadratic formula in solving quadratic equations. Okay, so just for this example, I am going to use completing the square. And if you would like to use quadratic formula instead of completing the square, you are very welcome to do so. Okay, so first step is I'm going to add 2 on both sides. I'm going to get rid of the c value so I can complete the square. So that's 4x equals positive 2. And then if you forgot the next step is doing b divided by 2 squared. And our b in here is negative 4. Divide that by 2 and square. Negative 4 divided by 2 is a negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. So I am going to add 4 on both sides of the equation. And where did I get the 4? I got that from doing my formula. Okay. And then this is now factorable. So 2 plus 4 is a 6. We have looking for two numbers that when we multiply, we'll get positive 4. When we add, we'll get a negative 4. So hopefully you are saying x minus 2 and an x minus 2. So this is an x minus 2 squared equals 6. And if you find me like, oh, why is she so fast? Because I'm assuming that you already know how to do completing the square. And again, if you forgot how to do that, please watch the video called completing the square. Okay, and then I'm going to get rid of the squared by square rooting both sides of the equation. I am left with x minus 2 equals plus and a minus square root of 6. It looks like square root of 6 cannot be simplified any longer. There's no double in it, right? Because square root of 6 is 2 times 3. So there's no double going on in there. Unlike 12, like say if this was a 12, so you do 4 and 3, and then that's a 2 and 2. So the answer would be 2 square root of 3. But in this case, 6 doesn't have any double on it. So I'm going to leave it as a square root of 6. So my final answer would be adding 2 on both sides. So we have x is equal to positive 2 plus and minus square root of 6. So 2 plus and minus square root of 6. If you want to convert this into a decimal value, that is perfectly fine. So in order for you to do that, you can solve for whatever the square root of 6 is. And then you do 2 plus that value and then 2 minus that value. So you can convert this into decimal values if you would like. But having it as 2 plus and minus square root of 6 is perfectly fine. Okay, moving on. We have number 4. 2 to the power of 4x minus 2 equals 64. We have here a base of, wrong color. We have a base of 2 and a base of 64. So they are not equal to each other. So our job is to make them equal to each other first. So how do we do that? We're going to rewrite 64 into an exponential form. So what does that mean? You can do, if you're like, still do not know like what is the exponential form of 64, you can use, because my target is 2, yeah? What is 2 to the power of something to make 64? So technically the job is, what's 2 to the power of whatever that to get 64? And if you are confused, you can always do the tree, the factor tree we call it. So we have 64 is 8 times 8. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. The other 8 is also 2 times 2 times 2. It looks like 2 to the power of 6 twos, yeah? 6 twos will get you 64. So we can now rewrite this as 2. Please take note at how I'm writing it very carefully. 4x minus 2 equals 2 to the power of 6. Okay, I did not really change the problem. I just rewrite 64 into an exponential form so that the bases are going to be equal to each other. And now that the bases are equal to each other, I can bring down my exponent and just focus on that. So I'm going to add 2 on both sides. That's 4x equals 6 plus 2 is 8. Divide by 4 on both sides, and we will get x is equal to 2. So just like that, you know that the answer is a positive 2. Okay? Moving on. Number 5. Again, the exponents are not, the bases are not the same. So we have a base of 36 and the base of 216. So we are going to rewrite this into an exponential form. Let's start with 36. What's 36? 6 and 6. So I'm going to leave it that way for now. Like, Miss, why are you not doing it 2 times 3, 2 times 3? I don't have to do that right now because I want to look at 216 and maybe we can get 6 in there also. So 216 is 36 and 6 and 6 and 6. So see, we can rewrite this as 6 squared is equal to 36. 6 to the power of 3 is equal to 216. So just like that, I wrote it as the same base. So this is 6. Please take a look at how I'm going to write it. 6 squared to the power of 2x equals 6 cubed in parentheses to the power of x minus 1. Okay, let us solve power of a power. If you forgot this rule, please watch the previous video called Rational Exponents Part 1, Rational Exponents Part 2. Any of those video, you'll be able to see how do I multiply a power and a power. So this is what we call a power of a power property, so that when you have 2 exponents or 2 powers, you can multiply them. So this is 6 to the power of 4x equals 6 to the power of, and you're going to distribute this. Be careful. 3x minus 3. So now that they have the same basis, I can rewrite, just focus on my exponent. So this is subtract 3x. You are left with x equals, just like that, we have our answer. X equals negative 3. Done. Not bad, yeah? X equals negative 3. Okay, moving on. Number 6. This number 6 looks like difficult. Let's see if it is, because we have an x squared. That means we have to factor or quadratic formula or completing the square, whatever that is. Okay, let's start. They don't have the same base, yeah? We have a base of 9 and a base of 27. So I'm going to write that into same bases. So 9 would be 3 and 3. What about 27? 9 and 3, 3 and 3. So they both share a 3. So this is 3 squared in parentheses power of x squared equals 3 cubed in parentheses power of x plus 3. So I'm going to do power of a power rule or property. This is 2x squared equals, what's that one? I have to give the 3x away. So this is 3x plus 9. I'm going to combine them by subtracting these two. I will get 2x squared minus 3x minus 9 equals 0. Okay, now you have a lot of choices. Do you do factoring? Do you do completing the square? Or do you do quadratic formula? First, you always have to see if you can factor it. So let's try to factor it. So, hopefully, let me do it this way. Remember now that since the a value is no longer equal to 1, right, we have to make sure that we do factoring by grouping. And again, if you forgot that process, please watch the previous. So this lesson is like combined lessons, yeah, because we have completing the square, we have rational exponents. So if you forgot all of this video, they're all available in YouTube, so you can always go back to them and rewatch. This one is now quadratics 4.3, so it's like factoring. So you can just go back and look for the video called factoring. So I'm going to multiply letters A and C. Okay, so I'm going to multiply letters A and C, which is a negative 18. So let me put that in here. A times C, sorry. There you go. So 2 times negative 9 gives you negative 18. So I'm looking for two numbers that when I multiply, I will get negative 18, and when I add, I'll get negative 3. I'll repeat that. I'm looking for two numbers that when I multiply, I'll get negative 18. Okay, and I am also looking for same two numbers that when I multiply, I get negative 18. When I add, I have to have negative 3. So that is, so 18 would be 9 and 2, 9 and negative 2, negative 6 and 3, right? And then 6 and negative 3. So which combinations will give you a negative 3? It looks like this combination will give us negative 3. So our factor here would be 2x squared minus 6x plus 3x minus 9 equals 0. And then this is factoring by grouping. So we're going to group these two things. We have here, both of them has a common of 2. So this is 2x, common of 2x to be specific. So this is x minus 3. Let's try to solve that if it's correct. 2x times x, I'll give a 2x squared. 2x times negative 3, I'll get a negative 6x. Good. Moving on to the next one. We have what's common between this and this. I think they share a 3. So I have plus 3 x minus 3. Let's check. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 3 is a negative 9 equals 0. So our final answer would be 2x plus 3 in parentheses, x minus 3 in parentheses. So to solve for the values, I do 2x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 on both sides, you'll get negative 3. And then divide 2 on both sides, you got negative 3 over 2. Hopefully I wasn't that fast. Again, I repeat, that's 2x plus 3 on both sides equals 0. So that is minus 3 on both sides. You will end up with 2x equals negative 3. And then you're gonna divide 2 on both sides. You're gonna end up with x equals negative 3 over 2. And at the same time, you would also do x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 on both sides. You get x is equal to 3. So our answers in here are negative 3 over 2, comma 3. Miss, what if I don't want to go all those quadratic formula? Can I just do, factoring. Can I just do it in a quadratic formula because I remember quadratic formula? So yes, you can. So let us do quadratic formula. I'm going to do it in purple. Quadratic formula. So we have Let's put A is equal to, what's our A? 2. B is negative 3, right? And then C is equal to negative 9. So formula is negative B over 2A plus and minus square root of B squared minus 4AC divided by 2A. So X is equal to, let's plug in, negative 3, 2 times 2 plus and minus negative 3 squared minus 4. What's our A? 2 times negative 9, 2 times 2. Okay, so this is quadratic formula. Negative times negative 3, that's a 3, 4. And then that's a 9. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 9 is that a 72 over 4. X equals 3 over 4. You can also say 0.75 if you want to. 9 plus 72 is a square root of 81 over 4. Okay, plus and minus, square root of 81 is a 9 over 4. Okay, so you have two equations that came out over here. We have, let's put that in red. We have x equals 3 over 4 plus 9 over 4. We also have x equals 3 over 4 minus 9 over 4. Luckily, they already have the same denominator, so we're good to go. We have 9 plus 3 is 12 over 4. That's a 3. Did we match? We have a 3, we have a 3. Good. Then 3 minus 9 is a negative 6. And then, or negative, both divided by 2. That's a 6 divided by 2 is the 3. 4 divided by 2 is a 4. So we got a negative 3 over 2, which is also matches with our previous answer. So you can either do factoring, but if factoring doesn't work, you can always do quadratic formula. I suggest doing quadratic formula so that, because it's easier to remember, okay, every time it's not, because then if the problem is unfactorable, you still have to do quadratic formula anyway. So whenever you feel like, oh, okay, my A value is weird, my A value has a 2, has a 3, I'm going to do quadratic formula. Okay? And there you have it. That's how you will solving basic, and I said basic, yeah, solving basic exponential equations. So I hope that this lesson is gonna help you, or this video is going to help you do your homework, and the homework is on the next page, on page 46. Thank you guys, and good luck with your homework. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.